All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checkered TV, where tonight we have the Area 51 Super Speedway Gen 4 Series here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and this is race number 3 of the 4-race playoffs. So after tonight, there will just be one race left to go. As we just had the second to last race over on Thursday night, and that was a very exciting one. I was able to kind of spy on it, watch Boomer and Brandon do their magic over there. And so, like I said, these guys, some drivers going to hope that they can kind of make lightning strike twice here. And one of those is going to be the driver that won on Thursday night there, Brandon. That's going to be Dean Wilkinson, because right now Dean is fourth in the points coming into tonight, 15 out of the lead. And we know it's a 5-point swing between first and second. So that's going to be important for him. And we've got 20 cars tonight, so that obviously will shake things up a little bit. But obviously the main thing tonight, though, 100 laps, 1 faster pair, 2 green-white checkered attempts if you need it. And then obviously we'll go over those numbers for what we have in store for the drivers. And you can see right here with Ray Rittenauer there with 1704 points, 7 above Ryan Decker, and then 10 above Joshua Heibaugh, who's sitting in third. We're just talking about him a little bit pre-race, very quietly having a solid races in those 2 playoff races with this 4th and a 6th. And then Dean Wilkinson and Gabe Butler. And then right behind Gabe, you've got Nick Wing and Eric Laurie there sitting tied for 6th and 7th. And realistically, Brandon, I think those are going to be the ones that are in contention here, because that's 18 points. After that, it's going to go down to 26 points to Kevin Hash, and I don't know if that's going to be enough to recover in 2 races. If it was a full 30, 40 car field, yes, but I think with the 20 cars, I think that's going to be a very, very, you have to have a lot of luck for that to happen. So you never know. We'll see what happens here tonight, but yeah, it's going to be fun to see what's going on, and we'll see what the strategies are for these drivers, because like I said on the Thursday night, Brandon, I mean, you can speak to it. I mean, it was a 2-horse show there until that late yellow with the 9 and the 55 just kind of running away with it.
Yeah, Charles and Dean definitely put on one heck of a show until that late caution came out, and they really, I think, gained some knowledge. You know, just being in a two truck tandem, and we hadn't seen it much all year, and they really made it work. And if anything, Dean has really nailed the pit stops this season. And if you need to nail pit stops at a track more than ever, it's this track here. Is you got the entrance off of turn 3 and keeping that speed up, and then being able to get down to 55 and not making a mistake. So hopefully those two can bring that knowledge that they gained from that over here and knock down some more points.
Yeah, no, exactly right. It's going to be really interesting to see. And like you said, this is the pit road that's the most different of all of them, because you've got to come down out of turn number 3. Make sure you don't drift back up onto the track when you're rolling the apron there. So yeah, so this is definitely one of the trickier ones to do. The other thing we gotta do before we get going is we also have, let's say, unrelated to this league, but let's say one of those drivers that is very familiar with a lot of the drivers here, and that is Alcina. So I'll pull that up right here. You can see on the overlay there, they're putting on a memorial race for Alcina. And so if you are interested, please reach out to Everett Lane, and you can see the email up top there, rl.rlane0705 and then he will get you going. And so Brandon, I know you were able to hop into that. I'm just now reached out to Everett. I'm going to hopefully be part of it as well. So really looking forward to kind of just put on a fun race for everybody. Again, in honor and memory of Alcina, because again, just really cool dude. Again, just through all the super speedway leagues, that big family that we get. So really big thanks to Everett for getting this all set up, and then everybody behind the scenes. I say we got Nerditudes putting on the stream there too. So big thank you, big shout out to those guys.
Yeah, really honored to be able to race in that, and ready to have some fun with some good drivers, and make some memories and talk about some memories, and just overall just have a good time, and honor a great friend. And Gael, I don't mean to cut it off too short, but I think I'm hearing some engines fire. I think these guys are starting to grid.
Yep, it's about time to get rolling. You're exactly right. And with that, we got to show the starting grid for tonight. And as we talked about it, our championship leader going to start on pole, and that is Ray Rittenauer in that number 87. Then next to him is going to be the 9 of Charles Johnson. So we'll see what those two get in 1/1000th of a second. And then there you go. We talked about those two right off the bat. There's Dean Wilkinson starting in third. So those two right together. And then Ray Rittenhauer's teammate, Kevin Hash, he sits in fourth. So right now, those two teammates kind of split lanes right now, but you can see they mean business in qualifying. And then Gabe Butler, Ryan Decker, again, some of those 2-point battles, championship guys going after it right there in row number 3. And Tom Dixon, Jack Walls in row number 4. Eric Laurie, Everett Lane there, 9th and 10th. Joshua Haiba, again, talked about him being very steady. And again, great qualifying for him, just outside the top 10, 11th. Kwabe Brooks there sitting in 12th. And we'll continue down the running order. You've got Bud Steele on the inside there in the 13th spot. Anthony Lane next to him. Then you got Dale Rapp, Gary Huffines, and then Mike Allen, Frank Ranger Jr. And then the last two cars are going to be Robert Amaral, and not putting a qualifying time in is that number 51 of Jim Brooks. So we'll keep an eye and see if that's going to come into play or not on the strategy. Of course, you always wonder, is it safer in the back? Is it just more chance of catching things? There's always that risk versus reward. So it looks like we've got pretty much everybody just waiting for that pulse there to pop in, and then we will be underway. There's Ray. And we'll be underway here for that 100 laps tonight.
Gael, I'm a little bit nervous about starting up there. I tuned in a little bit early, was watching a couple of these guys, and what I could really start to hear is these guys start to make a couple lap run, was you could really start to hear those tires starting to make a little bit of squill each lap and each lap. So we know how these Gen 4 cars can be. So starting up in the middle, you could be in that storm. So we got a couple guys, like you said, right up there in the middle, high in the points. So going to have to keep our eye on them and try to keep them on all fours.
Yeah, I know, exactly right. So it's going to be really interesting to see the strategy. And yeah, like you said, there's going to have to be there's tire management, I think. Again, that's a big one, I think, here at Atlanta compared to all the other tracks. Daytona, Talladega, you're not worried about tire wear. You're going to throw fuel, something's fuel only, maybe lefts or right sides if you have to. But as a whole, I mean, you're pretty much just going to be taking the fuel only from the get-go and all the way through. So it'll be fun to see on that front. And then, yeah, who does 2, who does 4, if we get green flags, caution. It's going to be a lot of strategy tonight. And we'll be spying on some paint schemes. I see one new one also right off the bat, and it's the 03. It was unsponsored for the longest time. He's got some peanut and chocolate on that machine now, and then 2 cars back. The one you saw pretty quick early on there, Brandon. Jack Wall's giving us some good love along with the league, so we'll have to definitely give a little bit of attention there as well. However, attention's going to go to that front row as Ray Rittenhauer is going to lead the field here to that restart zone. Once that green flag flies, we are underway. 100 laps here at Atlanta. Playoff race number 3.
Yeah, good start by both of these guys. Speaking of that driver in the 03, the nice Reese's paint scheme. Him and Charles getting locked up there a little bit. Nice, good push here, but 55 and he's so good on these restarts. As you can see, he really got that bottom lane off and going. And if you learned anything from Thursday, if you didn't race in it and you watched it, you seen the 55 can really get the car in front of him out front early.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where it's actually in both of their interests to push the car in front of them forward. For Ray, he wants Dean to push him to space, Dean wants to push Ray further out so he can jump in front of his teammate Charles. And then for Kevin Hash, he wants to try to keep Charles alongside of Ray, because that's going to keep Kevin Hash so that way he and his teammate can't lock on together. And already, Brandon, you see those drivers drifting out a little bit high there out of turn 2.
Yeah, these cars were really, really loose. I was watching along, and I even went to the info tab because it just seemed like to me the track was really hot and slick, but it wasn't. It's just how these cars were approaching this, and the admins and everybody that puts a setup on just giving another task for these drivers to handle and making it really, really great racing. And hats off to them guys. As we can see, these cars are already starting to be a handful with only 2-3 laps on the tires.
Yeah, being Sabre's trying to figure out where to go. There's Charles Johnson just able to clear Ray. He's going to jump down to the inside. He'll take control of this race in that number 9. And then we'll watch to see. Now watch for the 03 and the 87. Do they stay lockstep here? Like I said, because this may not be a race you want to go up front, lead every lap, and push as hard as you can. This might be one of those races you want to roll back a little bit, save a little bit of tire, then make your charge later in the run. And for me, you're going to be abusing the tires the most right now where the 9 is, where the 87 is. You're just hugging that red and white line on the inside. So I think my ideal spot is going to be probably a little further back where you're just using the whole track. We'll go back and see if anybody's actually doing so. A little bit there. I saw Dale Rapp just kind of swing it out a little bit. But right now, everybody's pretty, if they're on the inside, they're kind of hugging the inside line. I don't see a lot of big arcs being made in and out. Joshua Highball looks like he's maybe one of the ones. Look at that late apex he does out of 2. I like that from that 101. Again, just the less wheel you can put in, the better. And so, as I said, though, he's going to get to the outside of Eric Laurie here in the 071. As up front, though, still pretty much single file 07 and the 24, or sorry, 03 and 24 leading that outside lane.
Yeah, and we are already starting to see teammates start to link up and start to make some moves as we see the 88 move to the outside. The last time we were here, him and the 24 pulled off a 1-2 finish. So some guys getting in position already, trying to get with somebody they're familiar with, because you just how we talked about how the track can be. And you could really see as we went into turn 3 that the 24 really had to arc that wheel. You could see the orange line on the wheel, really have to angle in. So you want to be around somebody that you're comfortable with, and you know somebody that's going to give you a little bit of space. As normally at super speedways, you want to be tight, but these guys are really giving the guy in front of them enough room to check up if need be, or if they do make a mistake that they can correct it.
Yeah, and you can see right now, it's definitely got that look of these guys they want to kind of let the race play out a little bit, kind of feel things out, and then start to make their moves as we go. But there's, like you said, there's a couple that have decided, you know what, we're going to charge a little bit. And that's one of those guys we talked about at the beginning there, Everett Lane in that number 24. He's about 5 spots now into that second car in the outside lane. Joshua Highball doing the same here in that 101. He's up about 3 to 4 spots as well. As soon as I say that, he sees just the closest of margins there on Ryan Decker. Ryan right on the rear bumper there. That was very close out of 2. And so again, you can see these guys, again, they're going to try to get all the track positions they could. And I think for Josh there, he said, all right, I'm not going anywhere further. It seems like up top, let me see if I can get an opening down to the inside line. As you can see, this field's really strung out there. I think I may have just saw one maybe just catch the wall there through the tri-oval. Not sure if it was Frank Ranger or not, but the car's looking okay. I don't see anything that stands out to me. So it may have just got a little bit high through there. And that is a turn, though, Brendan, where that tri-oval is just, it's very abrupt angles. And so if you just miss kind of the entry, if you call it that, through it, it's really easy to wash right out into it. So it's kind of deceiving that tri-oval is maybe a little bit more difficult than you might expect.
Yeah, and it's not only just for the way you're entering the tri-oval, but how is the guy around you entering the tri-oval? You know, they do have the solid line there, but sometimes, you know, you just take a little bit of an arc, and if you hit that little bit of degree, sometime if the guy behind you, I was just talking about with the spacing, if he hits that, he can get a little bit unbalanced. So you really I like the way, like how we're focused in here on these guys back here. Single filed out. I like this, just in case anybody does take this. You don't have to worry about, you know, as we see, as they just went through that little bit of the tri-oval, if you hit that little bump just a little bit wrong, I think it can really upset it. So I like where the 13 and the 52 and these guys are back here just riding. Hey, there's nothing to race for just yet. We got 89 laps to go. Let's get to the finish before anything.
Yeah, and again, I mean, right now these guys probably taking the best care of their tires as well. So as these other guys start to get that handling issues, maybe get a little loose, a little tight, depending on how they're driving those cars, that's going to be another thing as well. And of course, the other thing we got to mention, as we do for a lot of these plate races, is there is that out of bounds line, that red and white line. However, you're going to see drivers, they'll cut below it a little bit, and that's not to try to gain an advantage. That's just basically just trying to give room to that car on the outside. So you'll see occasionally some guys drift a little bit low, and it's not one of those things. They're not doing it to jump ahead or anything like that. It's just to basically make sure that they're not pinning that outside car really high. And again, talking about that, the way that car exits. It's like we'll watch through here and we'll see. And yeah, you see a couple of them there just kind of getting too underneath it. And that's fine. That's something to be expected. It's when you're kind of cutting it abruptly. That's a whole different story where you got beyond 4 wheels and you're passing somebody. That's a different animal. So that's unfortunately where admins might have to step in. But I think I've only seen it once in all my races here at Atlanta.
Yeah, and when I raced, I was one of the biggest people that did it. I just, as the race gets on, it may not seem like something now, but as the race goes on, and if it stays green, a lot of guys don't want to take them tires just because they don't want to lose the pack. So when you're taking no tires to stay up front and stay with the lead pack, it's just courtesy to the guy next to you, because it's early in the race and you don't want to, you know, get in any trouble, and you're not gaining anything from it, I don't think, early in this race. From using that apron just a little bit and just keeping everybody safe around you. As we see the 88 go to the outside as him and his teammate run side by side here.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see does ever go with him, and the answer is gonna be no because he doesn't have an opportunity because there goes Josh Highball. It seems like Josh, if he sees someone go up there, he's feeling pretty confident. He says, "All right, let me jump with you, see if we can push a little further forward." I saw Bud Steele; he'd been trying to work that outside line, just hadn't had any help yet, and so Bud's been trying to run that second lane as well in that number 6 machine. So far, not a lot of change here with these guys, like I said, and I think this is again just the tires really haven't kind of shown their wear as of yet. I think give it another 10 or so laps. I think that's when they're really going to set in and talk to the drivers. I was hearing probably about mid 30ish on the fuel side of things, Brandon, which is pretty much right in the number to make it on a 2-stopper. Of course, 33, basically at least one run in 34 and then the other one in 33, and you'll be able to make it to the end. So basically lap 33, 34 should be the magic number for a 2-stopper, but this is a track you can go a lap down getting in and out of pit road. So in my mind, I think the longer you can go, the better, because this is, again, a very difficult pit road to get in and out of. Very likely to see a caution during the cycle.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things about this pit road is with these cars, it's so easy to lock up the tires. Trying to hustle around turn 3 and turn 4 on that apron, and you really got to flirt with disaster so the car don't come around you. But yeah, you hit it right on the head, Gael. I'm the same way. I'm sticking it out as long as I possibly can, letting somebody else come in, letting somebody else maybe make that mistake. And if they don't, at least I know maybe it's just me and my teammates, and we can avoid disaster itself and not get caught a lap down and have to really battle back through the whole night.
Yeah, so right now we still got everybody pretty much locked on together. Right now, just dropped a little bit back. I think there's no drama. They're still safely in draft. That's Gary Huffines there, Robert Amaral, and Frank Ranger. And I got to say, I'm really digging that 19's paint job there with the MGD paint scheme there for Gary. So definitely a big shout out to him. That's definitely the Rusty Wallace. Let's say, I'm not sure if it's an official scheme or not, but it definitely has those vibes. So it's always fun to see those ones pop back out. And that's what I love about these cars too. You can get some great retro schemes with them. And it just kind of brings you back to, for me at least, when I was watching racing as a kid.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of when you went back there and showed that paint scheme was Bristol at nighttime.
Yep.
As I was the same way as a kid growing up. We see it today. They even talk about it as drivers. So many people change paint schemes so many times. When I was growing up, you knew the driver by the paint scheme. So we see some guys mix it up, but here it's the same way. You see the 88, who to expect in it, or the 6, and I like how they do mix it up a little bit, but most of the times, these guys are staying solid to their paint scheme and leaving a tradition behind.
Yeah, and that's exactly it too. Is there's those ones where, like, I like to jump around a little bit, but yeah, you're right though. When you find the one where it's like, okay, whatever it is, like something about this I really like, and then yeah, that's the one you stick with, and they say, and so you mentioned Gabe. Let's say, yeah, you see a Guinness car, you're gonna pretty much expect it to be Gabe. I say his has gone through a couple different iterations, but the general theme of that car has always been the same in that number 88. So, and right now though, a little breakaway here, not a huge one, but you see Josh Highball. You got to go about 7/10 back to these two with Everett Lane there and Bud Steele as they stay side by side. So right now we're starting to see a little breakaway, and again, this might be the tire wear starting to kick in. We are now 22 laps in, so just a little over halfway through this fuel run. So wondering again, maybe the tire starting to play a role here. Watching also the cars, you can see them, they're drifting up off the bottom out of 2 out of 4. So I'm thinking those tires really starting to show their wear now.
Yeah, not only that, but if we look at the group of guys that's up here, a lot of these guys are front runners in points. They want to stay. I think their mindset is stay to the front, stay to the front, stay to the front. Mine would have been like normal, just riding around in the back, but a lot of these guys are top points runners or points leaders, and these guys not wanting to lose sight of the lead or lose sight of anything that's going on. As you can see, Gabe, he's still hanging out there on the outside.
And actually, it's a great point. I was looking at that timing and scoring, of course, that we always talk about on the left side there. On those guys that are all in that main pack right now, all but Jack Walls and Charles Johnson, those are the only two that are not in the playoffs there. And that's that 83 and the 9 car. So right now, they're the ones that are on the non-playoff side that are in this main pack. And then again, we go a little bit further back. Everett Lane, he's starting to pull back in. So now you got that big string right now kind of that train we talked about here, which we like to see a lot during the pit stop cycles as they start to approach. But I don't think this is a pit stop cycle plan. I think this is just the tires. I think these guys have realized, okay, this is getting a little harder to manage than we had earlier. You see Gabe there trying to maybe just peek underneath Josh here. We'll see if he's able to get his nose underneath, and it looks like he will poke in there entering one. See if he can complete this pass. But again, though, that outside is going to have good momentum, just not the draft, though. So we'll see as they come out of 2 here.
Yeah, and I really think that the outside is going to be able to hang, but it's going to have to take you later in the race, really pushing the issue, because if we can get a good shot of maybe the side of these outside of these cars, they're really having everybody. I see everybody as we come into the corner really have a big checkup. So either the tires are going away really badly, or these guys, you know, they know that they're a handful to drive, and so the outside, you can hang with it when it's like this, but you're really going to have to force the issue if you want to make moves. I thought maybe Bud was coming to pit road there.
Yeah, I saw right there. I actually saw just a little puff of smoke. I don't think there's actually contact. I think there's just that we always call the iRacing netcode. Saw a little puff of smoke. I think that was Gabe getting that nice arc into turn number 3. So, yeah, I think, and I mean, I'm looking at the lap times as well, Brandon. Best lap of the race for most of these guys is in the upper 29 section. We're down into the low 31, so we've slowed down over a second here in this race. I don't know if it's going to be on a fuel mileage side of things. I think it's just, again, I think it's just the outright pace of these cars is just, that's how much it's dropped right now. So, yeah, I think, like I said, tire wear definitely playing a role. I mean, there might be a little bit of fuel saving to make sure you can get all the way to the end. But, yeah, I mean, we've definitely got that train going in from this front row here pretty much all the way back now. It looks like everybody's really singled out here as we're starting lap number 28 now. So, again, pit stop's probably about in the next, I'd say, 5 to 7 laps is my assumption.
Yeah, and on top of that, what that means is that these guys riding in the back, these guys up front could take 4 tires, and these guys in the back would have to take 2 tires to stay with them, stay with this front pack as much as it's stretched out. So if I'm some guys in the back, I might want to start hustling up a little bit, because we can see some of the guys coming out of turn 4 as the leader come across the finish line. So definitely want to bunch this up, because you do not want to lose this main pack.
Yeah, and that's what I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see a few guys start to creep a little further up the running order. The 53 and the 51, Jim's up 5 spots again. He started shotgun on the field, deciding to start as far back as he can. Just saw Bud Steele there trying to get underneath Tom Dixon there in turn number 3. But again, you can see it's not all easy to go. You see there again, drifted a little bit there as well out of 4. So yeah, these things are really starting to have a little bit of a challenge to them. I saw Joshua Highbaugh, same thing. He's starting to drop, I wouldn't say drop back, but he's definitely under fire from the 80 and the 24. Look at the arc that the 88's taking there. Enters really high, cuts it to the apex, and now drifts it back up to the outside line is now Ryan Decker as well. He's trying to make the move. So yeah, these guys are getting ready. They say, okay, pit stops are about to happen, just like you said, Brandon. Now let's go try to get some track position before we come in.
Yeah, and if I'm the guys up front, and I see, or hear that, with it's about a 2-second difference, that almost even makes me think like, hey, I might even come a lap or so early, just because I know I can gain 2 to 4 seconds, maybe a lap, while these guys are out riding around. And then compared to the guys that's in the back, that can even be 7-8 seconds. So if you want to pull some strategy, this car that they brought to Atlanta tonight is definitely the one to use it with.
Yeah, I'm thinking, normally I'm definitely a 2-tire guy. It's like, no, I don't want to wait on fuel. I don't want to wait on fuel. I think this is waiting tires. I think this is a 4-tire stop race right now, even under green flag conditions. You can just see Eric Laurie right there. He got really high there in 1. He's having to try to pedal back out of it, and that's going to open the door for the 53 there of Quabi Brooks. Jim Brooks going to try to follow him along. So, yeah, so we're about to start lap 33 now, so we're pretty much now in that window, Brennan, for this to be a 2-stop race. So that was the magic number for the first part that they need to hit. So now we'll see again, are we going to see these drivers split it evenly? Or again, in my mind, it's a risk versus reward, because you're definitely going to gain a ton of time on these drivers on those fresh tires like you mentioned. So we'll have to see, again, who's going to maybe blink first and what the strategy is going to be. But so far, again, I think everybody's a little gun shy to try to jump in as quick as they can, as Ryan Decker's trying to get underneath Joshua there. But it's like Joshua's going to try to fight back there. You see that car drift way high there through 3 and 4. Just had that really shallow entry. and we'll see if the 48 can try to complete that pass.
Yeah, and the 101 definitely one that wants to get down immediately with these pit stops coming it's definitely pushing as the 88 definitely had to lift there. As you could see, is starting to really wash up the track. The 101's going to want to get down. As we can see, the first taker is going to be, looks like solo Charles Johnson.
Yeah, very surprised about this. However, again, though, we talked about that the pace and everything like that. So what I'm thinking, again, he led all the laps, so he's going to be burning the most fuel. But yeah, you're right, though. I would have expected Dean to maybe go an extra lap with him. But again, though, no dramas for him, though. He's just able to get nice and clean. That looked like a really good entry. I can tell you we've got a pretty good gap now between the 51 of Jim Brooks to the number 81 of Anthony Lane. But I want to see now, does Dean or does anybody react? And no, surprisingly not. So yeah, I'm gonna be very interested to see where Charles cycles out, because if he can come out and still have some draft, as he's just hitting a stall now, and I think now the answer is going to be no, he's not going to get out before the field goes by. So it's going to be easily a lap you lose here under under pit stops here. If a caution were to come out, he's rolling out of his pit stall now. So yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a lap and a half basically, as the 9's just now rolling out of pit road. And I can tell you though, it was an 8.6 second pit stop. So to me, that's probably fuel only, maybe left side tires. I don't think that's long enough for right, so Charles opting to go short on the pit side of things. I want to see what the pace looks like for 2 versus 4. So I think 4 is still the way to go. And yeah, Caitlin just popped in saying, yeah, definitely these drivers are wanting tires right now.
Yeah, and I think with Charles not being in the playoffs, with Dean being up there also, if he does lose it, you take it as a note, as we see a couple guys here deciding to come a peel off. This is going to be a very, very big group right here.
Yeah, so this is where you get nervous here. I say if you're Ray, you're loving it because you've got a nice clean entry here. But you're right, though. I mean, we've got pretty much all but about 3, maybe 4 drivers here. So it's going to be, you see Ray there, Kevin Hash, Dean Wilkinson, Gabe's in there, Everett, Bud Steele. I mean, yeah, you've got all the big lockups. Everybody's hanging on. I mean, that's about most of the field. So now these guys are going the 1 extra here. And again, this is that, try to kind of do something a little different, play it a little safer. And so that's going to be Jack Walls. Ryan Decker's going to hustle it on in there. There's Joshua Highball. We just talked about him. And then here's Dale Rapp, and that's the concern. I think that's unfortunately going to be an unsafe entry because he drifted over that white line. So I think that's going to unfortunately catch that 52. And then here comes Gary Huffines and Anthony Lane. So now what we're watching for here is this number 9 of Charles Johnson. Again, he's been running by himself here. He did take fuel only. So we'll have to see where he comes out in relation to everybody else. And here you go. So he's going to swing by the Kevin Hash. He's going to swing right around Ray Rittenauer. And Brandon,
he's going to pick up the 55 for a 2-car breakaway. I was just getting ready to say the same thing. How did these two put this plan together? I cannot believe what I am seeing.
And so I'm also looking at the pit stop time, and it was 8.6 for Charles, 8.6 for Dean. And the only other one in the 8-second bracket was Tom Dixon. But yeah, I mean, right now these guys have a pretty solid margin right now. So, but we'll see though. Now it's a question about the trucks, and these Gen 4s might be their own different animals where you can't do what you could do in the trucks with these cars. So there are teammates locked on here, 3rd and 4th. That's Ray Rittenauer, Kevin Hash. And then Jack Walls here. He's going to come out. He's the first on 4 tires. But as I say that, here comes Gabe Butler there, and Everett Lane also on the 4-tire strategy. Oh, there's Tom Dixon just catching the outside wall there. And again, Tom was one of those ones that did not take tires. So the lap times are going to be very fun to see. I'm going to give it one more lap, Brendan, and we're going to actually show our timing and scoring and to show you where those lap times are for our drivers here. As here comes Gabe and Everett here. They're the top runners of those on that 4-tire strategy. So let's jump back up front here. Let's switch over to that last lap time. As you can see, here's Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson. You'll see it update as they cross, and it is going to be a 30.86. Then we'll jump back to, I think, 2 tires here for Hash and Rittenauer, 30.50, so 0.3 quicker. And then we go to Gabe Butler there, and it is a 30.12, about 0.7 quicker. So again, so we'll see. This is kind of the short-term win versus potentially long-term win. So again, these lap times are going to be very fun to see. And I got to say also, fastest car last time by, fastest lap of the race was this car right here, the 51 of Jim Brooks. He ran a 29:31, Brandon, 1.5 seconds quicker than Charles Johnson in that number 9 car leading this race.
Holy smokes. But I think the one thing that Charles and Dean will benefit from this is that with the lead that they got, as you can see, they're entering really high, trying to just save what they can. But the guys behind them really have to push it. So if they're just sitting here coasting, these guys are hustling to really get going. And if they learned anything from the first run, is that Charles Johnson was out front that whole time and had to pit a couple laps early. So maybe forcing these other guys to come into that same boat as the 03 and the 87 do start to catch, but maybe starting to put those guys in the same boat so he can pit again with his teammate and not lose anything.
Yeah, and right now, I got to say, lap time-wise, it looks like the best choice is right now the 2 tires. Because, like you said, here's Kevin Hash, here's Ray Rittenauer. They've got them. That draft is closed. It's now going to be a 4-car pack here. And they took 2 right-side tires. And then you go behind to Gabe Butler, and it was a 30 flat for them. Gabe Butler's a 30-24, so they were actually quicker than Gabe and Everett and company here. So I'm really liking what I see out of Kevin and Ray here. And, yeah, this is what I was going to say. And I think they need to keep this going because they say, hey, we know we got better tires. Let's try to see if we can run away with this because we don't want to get stuck behind these guys because they don't have tires. So, yeah, very interesting fuel strategy and tire strategy already here on the first stop of this race. And we got 3 different ones to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, and not only that, but Charles can really now tuck in somewhere and maybe save those couple laps that he had to come a little bit early. So get back on the strategy with your teammate. You learn something. You learn that, hey, if you're out front, you're going to lose a couple laps. So we know maybe if we can't short pit now because we're going to be out front and we'll know we'll lose a couple laps like that. So just maybe taking some notes and trying to figure something out to get one late here in the playoffs and head into the last week strong for his teammate 55 of Dean Wilkinson. Is I believe he was 15 or so points out and running up front right now is really helping his chances.
Yeah, and right now you can see the gap starting to form between Ray and Charles there. It's about 0.7 of a second. But then here come the 4 tires. They have been starting to click those laps back off again. Now it's in the 30-30s for Gabe. It was 30-80 last time for Kevin Hash. So it's about a half a second quicker. So the 2 tires, I think, maybe worked initially, Brandon. But now the 4 tires are starting to show their muscle once more here. So again, we talked about it, that short-term win versus maybe a long-term loss. However, again, they pitted around lap 33 to 35 range. So we're already starting to lap 47. So, I mean, if it starts to equal out where maybe, hey, we can pit and we have to pit basically once they get to us, I'm not too worried about that. But now it's going to be that hard decision, though, for this next potential pit stop. Do you take 4? Do you take 2? Like, I think for if you're Charles and Dean, you've got to take 4 no matter what. But now watch the 80 at 24. They've got to figure out they got to get around these 2 because they don't want to let those 2 leaders sneak away here. But so far they stay kind of committed to tucking in. I think Ryan Decker, though, is thinking the same as me. I think he's thinking the same. We got to go. We don't want to let those top 2 run away.
Yeah, you definitely can't because the pack is really spread out. We got cars all over the track right now. So what that means sometimes is you might not get that caution that you hope for or the caution that might bring you back up. So I'm 100% in on what Ryan's thinking. And hey, let's get up here. And these guys can, if they can hang, they can trail along with us and make up later. But we cannot afford to lose this pack because we've seen what Dean and Charles did to everybody on Thursday.
Yeah, saying now Ray and Kevin trying to do the exact same thing. Yeah, like you said, the pack's splitting up here. They're just about to come up to the first car to put a lap down. That's Anthony Lane in that 081. And I say he did take 4 tires, but I say it was a slower stop, about 17 seconds. So that's what cost him the draft. And so, again, he's just been rolling on his own, unfortunately, here for a little while. I also got to mention, though, there was no penalty for the 52 of Dale Rapp. I was worried about that entry, but it looks like he was able to come through unscathed on that one. So he's still in this pack. Unfortunately, he's a couple seconds back. However, with all the dicing that's been doing around, he and Joshua Highball, they've been working well together. And they're starting to catch up to those leaders here. And you can also see how much this field in this main pack, we talked about them earlier. Look how much it's spread out here. You've got the 53, the 51. They kind of got trapped behind, it looks like. So now they're just now getting around Bud Steele, Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson, I apologize, with Bud Steele just in front of them. But yes, we're going to jump back up front, though, because here we go. There's Ryan Decker. Scroll up just a little bit. There they are, leaders there. So 4 tires right now, looking really good here for Ryan and Gabe and Everett. So I think, to me, that answers the question. I think next up, all drivers probably 4 tires here.
Yeah, you definitely answered the question before I asked it. I was gonna say, does anybody even think about risking taking 2 tires? But I think this has clearly answered itself. And if Gabe and Ryan and Everett and these guys can get hooked up, they might even be able to pull a little bit away from the 03 because their tires have started to wear a little bit more, and maybe try to put a little bit of distance for yourself. Ryan's been close all year long. Unable to get a win yet, and he's hungry and ready to get one. As you can see, he's driving to the front by himself on the outside.
Yeah, and you can see Gabe and Everett and them, they all decided to tuck into the inside line here. So, and this is going to be interesting too. Now it's the kind of the draft versus just the tires, but I think he's going to get some help here, and that's going to be that 83 of Jack Walls, because again, we talk about teammates, and even if you want to, like affiliates or things like that. And the 88, 24, 071, we know they're working together with Bootknocker, but I'm pretty sure the 87 and the 03 are also like almost like a satellite team, if you will. Not actually, but they work really well together. They've raced with each other time and time again. So, and also again, it's probably strategy. Gabe says, hey, let's save a little bit of extra fuel. Let's go a little longer. Let's not risk getting that extra lap or pitting early and getting trapped that lap down, because right now we're in the catbird seat on fuel. We're the furthest up on the tires, so there's a lot of strategy there, because right now they've got about 1.6 seconds to this trio here, and they're fighting hard though right now, Brown. The 6, the 53, the 51, trying to chase those leaders back down. And then look at Joshua Highball, Dale Rapp. They were seconds behind, and now they're leading that charge back up as well. So if everybody can do what they're doing, we might get 12 back on this main pack, as Ryan Decker does finally clear the 03. Jack Wall's going to try to fall through. You saw right there, almost caught the wall there at the entry of 1. He's not going to be able to complete the pass. We'll see. What does Ryan do here now? He's going to try to give his teammate the toe here, but again, he can't give up that bottom and get pinned back up top here.
Yeah, and if I was him, I would hang out up there. Don't make them guys below you. They're on 2 tires. Make them use even more up of their tire. You brought up early in this race that the bottom you're going to use more wheel and more tires. You can see that they're gaining even distance up there. I like that strategy, but not only that, but like what they just did, now they're letting the 03. The 03 had been out front for a long time, since that last pit stop, all by himself, using a lot of fuel. So at all times, the racer in my head is trying to think of strategy just to get in front of the other guys. So interesting move there by the 48 and the 83.
Yep, so they're able to clear now. So, and they were 2 that went the furthest. They went to lap 38, and you look in the background there, you see there's Bud Steele, Quabi Brooks, Jim Brooks. They've gotten to the pack as well. And then again, Joshua Highball, Dale Rapp. Again, don't sleep on those 2. They're right back into the mix as well. So, unfortunately, the ones that had the fuel strategy, doing fuel only, Dean Wilkinson, unfortunately, he's lost his drafting partner of Charles Johnson. You can see Charles in the 9. I say those cars, like I said, I mean, we've gone 58 laps here, and they're still on those original tires. Those things are screaming for help right now. But the problem is, they've still got to try to limp this thing here now, Brandon, about 10 more laps before they can try to finally pit. But again, though, they've lost so much track position now, because as the leaders are entering now through in 2, coming out of turn 2. Basically, as they come out of 2, Dean was just entering turn 1. I apologize. So they've basically got a full backstretch on the 55, and then even more on the 9. And then, of course, now lap time wise, they're just by themselves. And I can tell you right now, Dean's running about 0.7 a lap slower than the other guys.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate. Trying to take some strategy and use what you maybe learned from Thursday and try to bring it over, but it just shows that every week you got to show up ready to go and on the A game and not make any mistakes. And unfortunately, trying this risk, it didn't pay off unless maybe a water bottle hits the track or something like that. You don't want to hope for any chaos, but right now the 55 and the 9 are definitely hoping to see that yellow flag.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was about to say we can do a quick side-by-side and show up Ranger Creative Concepts for the trophy. But I'm afraid to do that because here comes Bud Steele. He said, all right, we fell back and didn't go very well. Let's keep going forward here. So 6 is going to try to push through here. The 53 is going to go through. And Charles Johnson said, I've had enough. I got to pit even though I'm out my window. So that number 9 car is going to hit pit road now. And so he's going to still have to stop again, unfortunately. But again, though, he wasn't in the playoff race. So he was just trying to do all he could to help his teammate in the 55. So, and he actually saw there, saw the 101 just catching the wall there out of 4. And you can see that right front is definitely pushed in now, unfortunately for Josh. So same thing, he's going to have to make a tough decision as Jim's going to slide just again a little on entry there. It slides in front of that 101. So now Josh has to decide, do I limp this damage along? Do I need to take that fast pair in this upcoming pit stop?
Yeah, definitely. If you thought it was hard to turn then, it's definitely hard to turn now. As we see also the 55 coming down pit road and the 48 still out here leading this group is Bud and them, and the 53 and the 51, they're trying to get up there by using the outside. And I thought Everett and Gabe was going to go there to the outside, but maybe just trying to enter the corner a little bit better and save what little bit of tire you got left.
I like what I'm seeing from Gabe right here. Like I said, this is the best way to take care of your tire. And I'm saying he's got a teammate behind he can trust. So he says, okay, I'm going to enter high. And again, talk about that. Just get a nice entry here. And then you get that really nice arc right there. Cut it down to the bottom because now you're not throwing the wheel to the right here on the entry. I just saw that 17 of Frank Ranger hit pit road with 37 to go. So again, just maybe outside the window. We did see guys go 37, 38. So it's probably doable, but it's definitely going to be on the tighter side of things. So yeah, we'll see now. Like I said, we're getting close to that point for kind of, again, the Hooblings first, which in my mind, Brandon, you go as long as you can because I'm seeing an advantage to those that went longer. It seems like their tires have just got that little extra grip and they're doing very well with it. But I got to say, big shout out to the 87, the 03. Again, they're the only ones in this pack on 2 tires, and they've made it work very well being able to stay in this main pack. They haven't fallen off.
Yeah, definitely good wheeling because you know them cars are a handful, especially at this track and the way this build is. But what's going to be interesting is these guys are going to start to gain on lap traffic. Is they're about a corner, a half a straightaway away from them, and that starts to make me spark my interest to come to pit road a little bit earlier. You don't want to be around any lap cars and guys trying to move out of the way, or them going high side and guys going up to the high side also that's not pitting that lap. So if I'm right here, I'm saying, hey guys, we're in the window. Let's come. We're gonna catch these lap cars pretty quickly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the first car. I was about to say the first car that they would catch is the number 9 of Charles Johnson, but again, he's got fresh tires. He's got places to go. So it's now going to be that 77 of Robert Amaral here. That'll be the next car that they catch for position to put a lap down. So looking at lap time wise, we'll keep an eye on what Robert was running because these guys ran a 31:52 last lap. Robert ran a 31:79, so only about 2.5 tenths slower. So really not as much as I would have thought, truth be told. So I think at this point you're still pretty comfortable to keep rolling this thing out. But yeah, like I said, I still think though we saw it's going to all be all about that entry because we saw that the 83 and the 48, they came in that lap later and they looked really good. So I'm feeling pretty good about if they can do similar and maybe make that happen here as well. So because pretty much like you said before, we looked at that pack that came in the previous lap. And I mean, it was everybody. It was from the 03 all the way to the 51. All of those guys pitted on that same lap. So the only ones with the extra lap were Ryan Decker, Jack Walls, and then Joshua Highball and Dale Rapp and Gary Huffines. So see a little bit of movement there. Looked like the 03 trying to get underneath Jack. He's going to get there. He's going to try to split those two. And again, you see Ryan immediately goes up to the top, try to give Jack the draft here to try to help Jack stay towards that front pack.
Yeah, and that's not where you want to be if you're Jack Walls because we are just talking about pit stops as we can see. Ooh, starting to see the snake thing. I thought Gabe was I thought Gabe was coming to pit road and maybe Ryan's really starting to let up here. As you can see, he wants to let it. Maybe his teammate get right there in front of him. Going to cause just a little bit of a stack up. Everybody will be all right. Yeah, definitely have to be careful.
Yeah, that stack up in the back. I saw Bud Steele. He had to jump out there because they were really checking up there. And so, as like I said, Ryan playing the team game there. It's like, okay, Jack's going to get pinned out if I don't let him back in. So let me go ahead and get him slotted back in here. And now this is also a tough spot to be, because as they're cycling in, here's that 13 trying to come out of Mike Allen. And you see, again, just the respect we see for these guys. He gave plenty of space before he started to drift up at and get onto the racing surface. So, again, these guys just making sure they give and take, and definitely you see that respect. But we're down to 30 to go now, Brandon. So, again, safely in the window. And, yeah, I think right now Kevin Hash is trying to shake these top two up to kind of make them have to kind of watch their mirrors a little bit more. But still, so far, no takers. See if we see any late lunges on the pit road. And answer is going to be no. No takers still yet here. So 29 to go next time. Oh, look at Ryan Decker. He's going to lose the inside line here. He's going to have to find somewhere to slot in here. And I think it's going to probably be all the way back to Bud Steele at this point.
Yeah, not good, not good. That's not what you wanted. That loses you precious seconds, and that can go all the way up to 1 second. And if everybody's on 4 tires, and if a couple guys break away, that's not what you want to see. As Ryan says, all right, I've already lost enough. Let's come down to pit road and let's throw these tires on it right now.
Yep, and it looks like this is going to be a pretty organized Roswell group with Ryan Decker, Bud Steele, Jack Walls up ahead of them, Quavi Brooks and Jim Brooks all together. So this is with 29 to go, coming to 28 to go, I should say. And then I'm just loving the new tires versus old. Look at Mike Allen here. It looks like these guys are fuel saving as quick as he's just blowing on by them. This is what the tires mean for these cars. As there goes the 13, he's going to get by all these guys. And yeah, here's going to be the reaction. But actually, surprisingly, I really thought they would all come, but it's just going to be the 3 boot knockers here. They're going to come in together, and they're going to come in this time around, coming to 27 to go. That's going to leave these 2 of Kevin Hash, Ray Rittenauer. And then also, again, we talked about these guys ran long last time. Joshua Highbaugh, Dale Rapp, they're going to continue to go a little further, and they've got help right behind them as well with Anthony Lane. So 3 different strategies once more here playing out.
Yeah, and the Roswell team that we've seen come first, they've executed pit road all year long, as we see the 03 and the 87 now peel off to come take their pit stop. But I think once the boot knockers seeing that they did it, hey, we gotta do it too. So as you see, it breeds, and we still only got 3 cars left out here. The 101 still pushing along strong, even with that little bit of damage. And wouldn't be surprised to see when he comes in this time just to go ahead and use that fast repair. It's been green all night. Wouldn't expect anything different at this time, so get that car ready for the end.
Yep, and here they come all 3 together. And so that's going to pretty much complete the cycle. Now it's going to be, where does everybody cycle out in relation to one another? Here is the 87 and the 03. They jump in nicely together. Again, right now I am watching. It looks like it's been 4 seconds for all of these drivers that are coming in. So what I'm waiting to see now is where they all cycle out. Here come the 8703. They're rolling out now. And again, talk about how early some of these guys pitted. Here's Dean Wilkinson. He pitted way back in lap 61. But look at the tire difference. When him doing that, he's right back up to these guys. But actually, I'm wrong here. Strategy one more time here, Brandon. 2 tires again for the 87 and the 03 cars. However, look how far Ray's kind of fallen back on this one. Or sorry, Kevin's fallen back to Ray. So they'll need to steal all the draft they can right now out of that 55 and the 411. And I don't know. I don't think this strategy is going to quite pan out because they're still building up speed. Here comes that 4-tire train right now. The 48, the 6, the 83, the 53, the 51. You talked about execution. They're all lined up nicely together, but they've got company coming with those 3 boot knockers as well.
Yeah, I could not believe they did not take 4 tires. That's a lot of racing at this track, and as much wheel and as grip as you need to. Even though they're the left side tires, you still need them. As you can see, the 87 is pushing just a little bit. As we got maybe the 52 maybe off speed, or just.
I think he went around, but I think we stayed green. So we'll do a quick jump back here to take one more look here for Dale Rapp, because I think this is him rolling out of pit road. And so you can see he does the half slide, and yeah, that was close. He does a great job of keeping it pointed down. And yeah, so we stayed green from that. So a lot of drivers probably thankful for it. But look at this cluster that we've got going on now here. And again, though, this is the 2 tires versus 4 new tires versus 4 old tires. And now look at Ray here. He's going to jump to the outside. They've split the teammates up. Ryan's going to see what he can do right now. Oh, almost contact the 55 there.
Yeah, definitely a close call, but the 55 has to race. He's sitting 4th in points. Right now, I believe he's the first car a lap down as we got some
contact.
guys. Yeah, they're racing hard. These 4 tires, they know they got the speed and they want to get up front. And the 87 knows I'm on 2 tires as these cars are really pushing. As we got 23 laps to go when the race is picking up.
Man, I say it's getting aggressive right there. You saw the 40 and the 87 made a little bit of contact. The 6 and 87 getting some contact. But again, look how strong Ray is still holding on that outside line with just the 2 tires. He's going to clear the 6 of Bud Steele. He'll get back to the inside line, and now he's going to try to push that 48 here, kind of try to keep that pace up. And so now again, it's going to be managing the speed, but with all the contact going, that slowed the pace up. Gabe said, "I'm going to take this momentum. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right to the top of all of you guys." And he's getting about 3 to 4 spots in just this one turn alone.
Yeah, Gabe doing Gabe things. We got to find somewhere to get a goat on that car because I don't understand how he does it. He's been silent all night. He's really been silent except for lately in this series on Sundays. But here in the playoffs, it's turned up, and he shows up when it matters the most, and we're coming to 20 to go, and the 88 has found himself right back to the lead.
And you said the main thing right there, 20 to go. These guys are racing like it's 2 to go, Brandon. There is a lot of aggression going on. And the only thing I can think of is it gets really tough to pass as the run goes on. Those tires start to wear. Everything just starts to get more and more difficult. So I'm wondering if it's one of those get everything you can now before it gets too tough to make it all happen. But, man, right now, this pack right here, you got first to 10th all just completely under a blanket here. If I'm Dean Wilkinson right now, I think he still is going to have to pit for fuel, unfortunately. As I say that, almost contact again with the 697. I was going to say, I don't know if we're going to get to the finish without something happening because, man, these guys are fighting hard right now. So we're keeping an eye here still through 3 and 4. So far, like I said, it's just right now to me the inside line very, very difficult. Seems like to keep it held down on the inside without washing up again. It's almost like an iRacing super speedway to me, where it's just so easy to drift up a little bit if you miss that entry point. And yeah, right now, man, the pace is the aggression right now, Brandon. It's massive right now, and you can see, I mean, again, a little bit of contact with these guys just getting hooked onto the doors of one another. And again, we're still over 15 to go, 17 to go here at the line. How long can they keep this up here, Brandon?
Keep it going, fellas. You got a fast repair in the back pocket. Keep it up. I love to see it. The fans love to see it. 2 wide, guys all over the place, bumping into each other, racing hard. Hey, keep it going, fellas. You know you got that fast repair.
As I'm guessing I know at least one person in the YouTube chat probably very stressed out right now, and that's the wife of that driver on the inside lane. And as we say that, you see Ray here, he's gone back to the inside lane behind the 48, and that's allowed the 03 to get to the 88's bumper. And you see that also coming up now on that number, which number was that? Was that the 19? Yeah, of Gary Huffines. So they're coming up on him. So this is where you talk about now these guys 2x2. You can run 3 wide here, Brennan, but with the way you can see, I mean, we can barely run 2 wide because these cars are already struggling for handling. I wonder if they got too greedy right off the kick here and just have really kind of thrown those tires for like worse for wear here as we're down now to 15 to go.
Yeah, and I think that really has a lot to do with the 03 and the 87 keeping the pressure on. Because they were the ones that took the 2 tires. Make the guys with 4 tires race. As we see the 48 and the 88 touch a little bit, they keep it straight. Just like I said, that's race hugs. As we can see, the 03 kisses the wall. These guys are just racing. If they didn't have a mark on the car, the wives would be mad and didn't think they did anything. So they just got to scratch them up a little bit so they can stay in the garage the rest of the week and get them ready for next week.
Yeah, so with that little bit of contact, the 48 lost a little bit of momentum from it. And so that's going to now let Gabe clear both lanes here. And so that's going to give him some opportunities here to figure out where he's going to put himself in relation to Gary Huffines. Gary's going to decide where he's going to run that car. It looks like right now maybe planning to run the inside lane, let the leaders run across the top here. Because, again, as long as you hold your lane, that's all you can do. And as I said, it looks like he's going to actually jump top here, entering turn number 1. And this is like, you can see now the 88 and the 48, they've been able to kind of gap the rest of these guys here for just a moment. And so for them, this is nice and easy. Like, okay, let's get by the slap car, off we go. Now we get to this 2x2 battle here. This is where things get a little scarier for these guys. But look at them, though. They can't even clear the 19 yet. Like I said, these tires are just completely shot right now, Brandon.
Yeah, these cars are a handful. The 19 not backing off. That's a lucky dog spot. You know, you're still a racer. At the end of the day, you don't want to get in anybody's way. As we see the 24 and the 51. That's called a racing hug. Just letting each other know he's there. Is maybe a little bit of contact with the walls. We can see the 48 trying to get everything nice, good arch going in this corner. We just talked about how the tires could be as he gets a good run going through this corner.
Kevin Hash just caught the wall a little bit one more time entering 3, but looks like, again, able to recover nicely from it. But yeah, right now, though, the 88, he's been able to clear the 19, but that's it so far. The 48, Ryan Decker, has not been able to slide up in front of him as of yet. I think now he might be able to, and I'm saying that's going to be crucial for him, and yet, he's just clear right there. And again, I think that's just him knowing he's got to clear because he needs to get that entry here. As they head back into 3, you see Ray Rittenauer again. He's doing all he can on those 2 tires. He's done a really good job. His teammate Kevin Hash. Kevin's starting to have a little bit of a tougher time now. He's starting to drop towards the back of his lead pack, but again, still safely in the pack. As we now do have 10 to go here, Brennan. So now, again, everybody's going to start kind of putting themselves in position. But again, though, what do these guys still have left in the tank? And more importantly, behind the wheels. Look at Ryan. He's going to try to move high, move low. Gabe's going to protect it there. Man, these guys, again, 10 to go, and we're making huge moves right now.
This is some good racing. I thought maybe Ryan's pushing just a little bit too hard. We got 10 to go. Don't heat those tires up too quick. Don't heat them up where you don't have nothing left. Make Gabe use his. Maybe make him run a line that maybe he doesn't want to do. Take away his arch a little bit. Make him use up those tires. We got 9 laps to go now. As you can see, that really bunched the guys up behind him now that they've got by the lap car also.
And you can see, yeah, everybody's trying to position themselves and figure out what do they need to do. And like I said, Brian's in a tough spot here because I feel like where he goes, Ray's going to probably go the opposite. So I think for Ryan here, he may need to wait to see if they can get some help from Bud Steele, from Jack Walls. Because then we've been talking about, right now the top 3 in the race right now are in the playoffs. Then you got 4 drivers not in the playoffs before you get to Eric Laurie in the 071. So right now, again, you're trying to maximize points, but your closest competitors are right in front of you, right behind you. And you see right there, Ryan, again, just drifts off the bottom a little bit. Not enough for Ray to stick his nose underneath. But that's going to be the fear that you have, is you're going to have to hold that line as tight as possible, because as soon as you drift off there by a car width, there's going to be a car to try to steal that spot from you, as we're down to 7 to go here.
Yeah, that's where that 4D race where, yeah, Everett slides in there on the bottom. 80 or 51 goes up. We're starting to get those little bit of short track vibes where you might have to give the guy a little bump to get by him, as everybody's trying to run the same lane with these tires getting bad. But this is where I was talking about. Yeah, the 4D racewear gloves, this is where it comes in. You don't want your hands all slippery, as you got to hold a very tight line. So you can see these guys, it's coming down, 6 to go now, and the 51 trying to get that outside lane going.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if anybody's going to go with him, because right now he's actually been able to kind of maybe gain about a car length or so. As you see, he's going to actually slot, he's going to slot right next to Jack Walls. And right now I'm watching Bud Steele. Here we go. People are starting to make the moves now. Bud Steele's going to try to peek to the outside of Ray. Not quite enough yet, though. Like I said, Jim, like you said, he's definitely got some momentum up there, but just doesn't have the pushers yet. So we'll see what they can do, as we're now down to 5 to go. And again, now it's just figuring out, okay, who's going to go where. Look at Bud Steele there. He drifted up a little bit, but Jim's going to continue that momentum in that 51. Right now, everybody's, as I said, a little bit of contact, more contact to the outside. That's going to hurt that right front. That's going to probably kill that momentum for Jim. We'll watch and see. But again, still got 5 to go here, 4 to go at the line. But yeah, I think that 51, unfortunately, just a little too high. Got that right front, and we'll see if that's it. But I think he'll hold the draft, but I don't know if he's going to have the outright pace now.
Yeah, I think the 87 was starting to catch on to Ryan's move here. I think Ryan's starting to drop a little bit, get a little gap between him and the 88 that would help him here at these super speedways, really let you build a big head of steam. But the only bad part is they're catching the 9. That's going to give a little bit of draft to the 88 and keep him up to speed. So maybe Ryan makes his move a little bit sooner.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Do they catch Charles Johnson? Because he just pitted on lap number 94, so he's going to have fresh tires here. So we'll see if that comes into play or not. The 411 Tom Dixon also, and looking for Dean. Yeah, Dean also had to pit there, so really tough night for him. But yeah, you can see right now this inside line. I think right now, like you mentioned, I think Ryan's trying to lay back, try to build that big run on the 88. But right now, like you said, now these teammates now are fighting amongst each other, though, the 83 and the 6. And so right now in doing so, I think they need to find a way to get to the 48. That way then maybe the 48 can hop in front of them. But right now, I think this is less of a plate race at this point, and just trying to basically run the best you can. Your tire management, everything like that's going to be the way to win this race. And right now, Gabe's been able to hold about a steady car length here. As we're next time by, we'll see if we get there or not. We'll be taken to the white, and at that point, it's just who gets the line first.
Yeah, as we see here, the 83 had a really, really good run on that outside lane. As we see Ryan,
Man.
ooh, big block there. Hey, we're going to come to 1 to go. If you're going to see a move, it's going to come now. You see the 87 get in front of the 83. We got 1 to go. If Ryan's got anything, you're going to see it now.
Yeah, there's Bud Steele able to get underneath there. The 87, he's going to try to grab that podium spot. And yeah, so here you go. I think now for Ryan here, he's got no pressure behind him. He's going to have to try to find a way to get a big run on Gabe. And again, we talked about that white and red line, though, cannot go beneath it for a pass. So Ryan's going to have to try to do something. He's going to send it into 3-0. A little bit of contact there. Gabe's able to hang on to it here, and I think he's going to be able to do enough to hang on to it to the end. And it is going to be that 88 Gabe Butler getting the win here tonight at Atlanta over Ryan Decker there in seconds. And then it's going to be Bud Steele grabbing that third spot. And then Everett Lane, Eric Laurie. Great recovery for Eric there, jumping up to that 5th spot. And unfortunately, just Ray Rittenauer there at the end just got a little bit shuffled out back to 6th. But, man, these guys, that is some of the most aggressive racing I've seen here in just many, many races. You see there, Ryan, I think just giving Gabe a little bit of extra love. Said, I tried, man. But it's going to be that 88 getting the win here tonight.
Yeah, I know Ryan. Man, he's right there again. He can almost taste a win, and he's gonna need the one next week. But hats off to the 88. He was quiet all night, and he made the charge when he knew he needed to make the charge, and got in front and did one heck of a job keeping the 48 behind him. He made multiple runs at him, even handled a little bit of bump going into 3, and wow. Gabe doing Gabe things.
Yeah, pretty much. But man, that was probably the most intense race I've seen. So while we watch him come around here to celebrate, let's go ahead and pull up those final results for tonight's event. And it is going to be Gabe Butler getting the win over Ryan Decker there by just over that 0.2 of a second. But again, though, I mean, this is all about that tire wear there at the end. And these guys did a really good job of managing it. I mean, that was one of the craziest ones. Bud Steele bringing home a podium as well. And then Everett Lane, Eric Laurie getting some great recoveries, grabbing some extra spots there at the very end. Ray Rittenauer 6th. Then you got Jack Walls, Jim Brooks, Quavi Brooks, Kevin Hash bringing home the top 10. And then Joshua Heiba, unfortunately, the first of those that did not stay in that lead pack there. He winds up in 11th. And then you've got Dale Rapp there, 12th. Mike Allen in 13th, our lead lap finishers. And then Gary Huff finds Dean Wilkinson, unfortunately, in 15th with the fuel and strategy just did not pan out, unfortunately, for Dean. And then Anthony Lane, Robert Amaral, Charles Johnson, all one down. And we get to the last couple spots, unfortunately, including Tom Dixon and Frank Ranger there in 20th.
Yeah, it was. Right. Hey, that was a very interesting race, Gaio. I did not expect that coming into Atlanta. I don't know about you, but no, I did not expect that. Kept me on my edge of my seat all night. That's for sure.
No, exactly right. Now, so I'm gonna actually try to jump ahead here. So I want to try to see if I can find the points for this one, because I want to make sure I get you guys some good numbers here before we get to the end. Because yeah, I mean this is gonna be even tighter, like we talked about going into it. So this is gonna be quite the battle going to the finale next week at Talladega. So they're watching Gabe do the full rotation here of the burnout, and yeah, trying to hunt this down. So I'll try to make sure I get it before. I might have the wrong schedule here. There it is. So I'm gonna get the schedule uploaded real quick, Brandon, because like I said, I want to try to get the people what they need to know going into that finale.
I can tell you now, it's gonna be a close one. I had some the top about 8 guys wrote down and the point differential and where guys finished, and I know my math ain't very good, but from what the little bit I have added up, it's one you're not gonna want to miss. That's for sure.
All right, so I think I do have the points updated. Like I said, we'll double check them after this one, but it is going to still be Ray Rittenauer hanging onto that points lead by 3, Brandon, over Ryan Decker. Gabe jumps to 8 points behind. Joshua Highball, again, still right in the mix there, 15 out, and then 17 out is Eric Laurie in that 5th spot. So there's still a lot that can happen. But yeah, I mean, we've got 3 drivers within 8 points of one another, and basically for Ryan Decker, if he wins at that point, there's nothing anybody else can do. So right now, I said 3 spots for him and Ray, 8 spots between Ray and Gabe. So we'll figure all that as we get closer, but let's talk to some drivers here. So Brandon, we're going to kick it off with that number 6 of Bud Steele. But I was telling Brandon, I don't know if I've seen just a more just intense, wild end to the race than we saw tonight. I mean, there was some big moves going and a lot of door-to-door contacts. Somehow everybody stayed pointing in the right direction. I mean, how crazy was this one for you tonight?
It was tight. And personally, I love the old tires. You know, that's when I was handling a lot better because I was just getting a little break and getting to the bottom. But main objective tonight was to try to get Ryan a win. Came up a place short. I just could not get back up to him there in that last lap. But yeah, it was some good, tight, clean racing. I know probably a couple times I think I might have drifted up a little bit, but I think everybody was. I don't know.
Yeah, you had one heck of a run there, Bud. With what you know now with these tires and everything, would you guys have made the push earlier, or would you still approached it the same way? Because it looked about there at the end about everybody was level.
Well, what really helped there was uh, Raymond pushed up and was able to stay low in that case and kind of break them up a little bit, but still on worn tires there at the end. I think you pretty much have to try to just hold your position and protect your position, and uh, that's what we did, and Gabe did it better.
Yeah, it was impressive watching you guys fight it out there, and so Thursday night we saw a whole different story with the tire strategy, 2 versus 4 versus none. Tonight we saw again mixed strategy tonight with 2 versus 4 versus none. And at one point it seemed like the 4 tires on that second stop, you were just going to set sail and just blow by everybody there. But the 2 tires of Everett and Kevin Hash seemed like they held on really well. I mean, was that actually maybe better than you expected? You thought did you think you'd be able to just run on by them, or I mean, what was the thought there as well? Because for me, it caught me by surprise because you got to him super quick, and then at that point, it just seemed like maybe the drafter, I'm not sure what, but you guys were able to just hang on really tight.
Well, yeah, it was kind of at that point. It was kind of like maintain because their stuff was going to go bad a lot quicker than ours. So and it did. So we were able to capitalize on that set of 2 tires. But we thought about it, talked about it one time because uh, lefts didn't seem to be, they were falling off about 5-6%, and thought about taking 2, but we didn't think about it too long. So 4 was the way to go.
Yeah, Ford definitely looked like there was the way to go initially. Like so, the first stop, it was Brown and I were both wondering. It's like, man, is this going to be Thursday all over again? But yeah, once the tires started to really show their age, it was a whole different animal. But yeah, but I mean, that was a hell of a drive by all of you guys tonight. Like I said, I'm amazed you guys did what you did for as many laps as you did, because we were talking. It's like they still know there's 20 laps to go, right? And I mean, you guys were full tilt from the last pit stop on there to the end. So hell of a job by all of you. Definitely want to give you the floor though for any thanks and shout outs for that podium tonight, sir.
Well, thank the team. Had some good conversation. And thank you, Gael, you and Brandon there at Green White Checkered for sure. Congrats to Gabe again, and thanks to my beautiful wife, as always, and look forward to going back and taking a look at this.
Yeah, there's a lot happening on this one, but no, great job again, bud. Look forward to seeing you finish out the season strong on Thursday night, then back here again in 1 week's time, sir. So congrats again, and we'll look forward to seeing those next 2 races.
Yeah, thanks, Gael. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, Brandon, that is our 3rd place driver. Then we got to jump 1 place further forward here, and that's going to be that 48 of Ryan Decker. And Ryan, that was a very busy last 20-ish or so laps. You were fighting with pretty much everybody there on the second lane, trying to figure out where do I position myself, how do I try to just take the lead of this race on. Then there's just a one moment, a little bit of contact on the backstretch. You kind of get on the apron, lose a little momentum, and then that's the one point where Gabe finally clears you. I mean, is that for you? Is that kind of where maybe you kind of were maybe between a rock and a hard place, or because I mean it was so difficult to seem like to make the passes complete, and it just seemed like the tires kind of hit a cliff really early, at least to me on that last run, where you guys were all kind of then just almost stuck on top of each other. I mean, take us through the race and then just that outright brawl there at the end.
Right now, I that area, if you look, I kind of lose my help. I lose Bud. So, and once you lose your help, man, I mean, you got teammates on the outside and those boot knockers. I mean, they're gonna take you over, and all you can do is side draft as hard as you can. And I think me and Gabe got together a little bit, but I mean, no harm, no foul. I mean, it's fun always racing with him and fighting with him on that, and that whole team. I mean, they do an excellent job. I mean, I don't care. Kevin and Ray may say they're not part of that team, but they are. They help them, because I know darn well come next week they're gonna be pushing Gabe and not me, or well, no, Gabe and Ray will be fighting for the championship just as bad as I am, because I think I just looked and 3 and 8, I believe, we're only out. But anyways, no, it's a good run for us. I mean, I think, teammate wise, they helped out real well. Just wish I had that little last bit of luck at the end and a little bit of last bit of tires there to kind of get by him and grab a win. But oh well, 2nd place, not bad.
Yes, I mean, I've been behind the wheel. I had never been in this spot that you have, man. A lot of 2nd place finishes. If you're in this spot next week, is the bump a little bit harder? Gabe's had his share. Is the bump a little bit harder?
You liked that, didn't you? No, I was like, that was it. I was like, that's my last effort. Like, I wanted to give him a good shot. I didn't want to, completely wreck him, but I wanted to kind of, give him a little shot to go, hey, I'm back here, bud. But anyway, no, it's Talladega. Those runs come real. Those bumps are going to get real hard real quick there at the end. So, oh no, I'm ready. I'm excited for it. I don't know. Hopefully, we end up winning, or at least beating Ray by at least 5 or 6 point places, and beating Gabe at least, so, and bringing home the championship.
Yeah, it's gonna be really tight between the 3 of you. Like I said, it's 3 from you to Ray, and then 5 from you to Gabe behind you. So yeah, you're being looking forward and backwards the whole way through there. But yeah, I mean, I think the teams are gonna kind of get all the big hitters out there to try to help out, and obviously we always talk about it being kind of a team deal, and we've seen that obviously with you and with Gabe and all the drivers. I mean, we talk about it week in and week out. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what the strategy is for that one next week. But again, just a great run here tonight. Like I'm Brandon said, I mean, we know you're doing everything you can to try to grab that win, but just again, a great job this evening. Definitely want to give the floor though for any thanks and shouts for that runner up tonight.
I got to think about team and everything, pit crew, all that stuff. Y'all guys, Green White Checker, putting this broadcast on. Area 51. Caitlin, lovely wife, cooking chicken nonstop. Hopefully we can get a little bit more of a special fuel in this thing for next week for that. But Frank Rangers Creative Customs, 4D Racewear, Whiplash Sim Cams. Gotta thank all the sponsors. But yeah, and everybody who runs in this league, I gotta thank them. I mean, like as far as week in, week out, cautions are not that crazy for the most part. As far as everybody does a good job, kind of running aggressively clean. How about that?
I mean, that's what you gotta do is you gotta find that happy medium, and that's just happens with those guys you can trust. And yeah, I mean, it was really impressive. Like I said, it was really fun to watch Brandon. I'm probably speaking for Brandon a little bit, but I was getting nervous there a few times. I'm still blown away. You guys were able to keep that going for those 20 laps or so. Yeah, so we're gonna be in for quite the end of the season next week. But Ryan, again, just awesome watching you guys do what you do best, and look forward to seeing you go after that title here in a week's time, sir.
All right, appreciate it. Tell Gabe that bump's gonna be a little harder next week.
Will do, sir.
All right, see ya.
See you, man. All right, so that is the bumper. Now we got to jump over to the bump E in that number 88 car. And Gabe, you had to probably hold the wheel a little extra tight there coming into 3 and 4, coming to the checkers there, but held on to it tight. And I mean, I call it an outright brawl there those last handful of laps because, I mean, you guys just couldn't get away from each other. My question is, did you guys burn your tires off too quick trying to kind of get to the front to control the end of that race when the tires wear out, or was it just, I mean, I'm curious because it seemed like the tires this last run just kind of, they fell off to me, at least from behind the booth.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the tires fell off all night, but I kind of saved a little bit. And by the way, when I get done with this interview, I'm heading over to Ryan's house because apparently Caitlin's cooking chicken. She says she's not, but I know she is, so I'm heading over there. Anyway, Caitlin Decker, that is. Yeah, that last run, Ryan came from the back out of nowhere, so I ended up battling with him that last number of laps there, and I felt like when we were side by side, it was just giving him a bit too much room on the backstretch, and he was kind of pushing me up, which he should do. And so I decided to kind of make it a little bit tighter on him. So instead of me running out of the corner, I'd keep it down a little bit, and I figured that might tighten him up a little bit, and I was finally able to get past him. And then I was just trying to keep dirty air on his nose for the rest of the run there. He'd get a little run back. I'd cut down in front of him, give him dirty air. He'd have to back off. And then I was expecting that bump at the end. And I kind of braced for it. I saw him coming. And I was just glad I was able to hold on to it and was able to get the win.
One heck of a drive. I didn't know if he was going to be able to hang on to that one. That was a good little push from the viewing, but with about 15 or so to go, you made a move to the outside that really led the charge to the front. Was that a planned move, or was it just saying, hey, it's time to go and I got to get up front, or was it just the move was there and you took it?
A little bit of both. I mean, the tires were relatively fresh, and I was trying to look at the standings to see who had taken 2 and who had taken 4, and quite a few of them had taken 2. And when I saw that, then I said, "Yeah, we got to get up here," and off we went. And the car felt really good. Yeah, there's something wrong with this setup though, because it's I don't know, it's just very difficult to pass. Where before, I think we were able to pass a little bit easier. The car needs to be freed up somewhat, but that being said, maybe we'll look at it next season if they're still using this car. But definitely difficult driving this car. Is a bit of a tank tonight, and it was chewing the right side tires off it. But the whole thing is, it didn't matter what car you race at this track, you're going to have to manage your tires anyway. And I was kind of really concentrating on lifting there, even when I was out front, just to save a little bit for the end there. And like I said, I was just trying to keep dirty air on Ryan's nose, and it seemed to pay off.
Yeah, that's wild to me. That I love it though, I have to say, but just the polar opposite of this track to the Daytonas and Talladegas, where you have to you can just like what are tires, almost kind of a thing, and we're here. There's actually a lot of tire management. Almost kind of goes back to the old Daytona when you kind of were like, oh yeah, you have to actually have a handling car. And so right. I think definitely saw that as well here tonight. So yeah, like it was an amazing fight between you guys. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of strategy on the 4 tires. We saw no tires initially for Dean and for Charles. I mean, when you saw that, did you say, like, did you ask yourself, is this Thursday all over again? Or were you like, no, these tires aren't going to do what the trucks did?
Oh no, we knew they weren't going to do what the trucks did. Even Charles came into our Discord afterwards and said they had made a mistake. And I said, we talked about it. We had mentioned it even before the race. I said, if they try that, they're not going to get away with it in this car. It's just a way heavier car. And, but they tried it and it didn't work out. But I mean, I'm sure it's lesson learned for them, the next time they race here in this car. But, yeah, we kind of knew that, ahead of time. And when we saw them do it, and they came out, they were like way out in front of us, and we weren't worried about it. We had decided early on we were going to take 4 no matter what, unless it was going to be a caution with 10 to go or something, and you had track position or you had to pit or something, then we'd consider rights only. But we stuck with the 4 tire strat, and it worked out.
Yeah, 4 definitely seemed like a good way to go. And obviously we saw Ray and Kevin doing the 2 tires, actually on both stops. So we saw a little bit of everything tonight, which I thought Ray and Kevin held on extremely well for just having the 2 as well. So, yeah, the strategies were definitely everywhere. And then, yeah, just like I said, just at the end there, just you guys were giving everything you could with, again, the limited grip that you had at that point at the end. It was, like I said, the strategies and everything was, and then of course just outright just dueling there at the end was really fun to watch. And I'm pretty sure we got your full infield burnout there on this one tonight too, Gabe.
Oh, right.
So yes, you'll go back and check that one out as well. But I say if you had a little bit of practice at this stuff, so. But yeah, so I can tell you though, Ryan has given you the formal invite. Caitlin's trying to figure out where she got signed up for all of this. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I love as well, like I said, you guys can race so hard and everything we see, and then kind of have this camaraderie after the fact. I mean, that's what I love about this league and leagues in general, is kind of building that, which led in obviously with the Alcina Memorial race coming up, not this Friday, but next Friday. So, again, see everybody coming back together for that as well. So, that's what I love about these things. So, Gabe, before we let you go and go find a Guinness to celebrate tonight, definitely want to give you the floor here for any thanks and shouts for that win this evening.
Yeah, obviously, the Bootknocker boys there, Everett and Eric tonight. We had good pit stops. We came out together for the most part, and we were able to all get a top 5, which is great for the team. And then I want to thank Ryan for racing me really clean. I know we were banging and beating, but it was actually quite fun. And Area 51, the admins, for putting this league on. This was a fun race tonight, caution-free at Atlanta and Gen 4. I mean, can't ask for much more than that. And then you guys up in the booth, Gael, Brandon, doing a wonderful job as usual. And I'm definitely looking forward to hopping into bed, grabbing a Guinness, and watching this one back.
All right, well, great job tonight, Gabe. Yeah, and go back and watch the burnout as well at the end. But yeah, hell of a drive tonight. Like I said, it was a lot of fun watching you guys duke it out there. And good luck in 1 week's time. See who can come out on top. It looks like likely between you, Ryan, and Ray. So it'll be a lot of fun to see how that one shakes out as well.
Yeah, I think there'll be more bumper taps in that one.
Yeah, I mean, at Dega, you got to expect it.
Oh, yeah, well, Ryan's got one coming anyway. So.
Great job again, Gabe. Look forward to seeing you soon, sir.
All right, fellas, thanks.
All right, Brandon, that is that winner of the race, number 88, Gabe Butler. And again, like I mentioned, jumping back into the points battle here now. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, I think it's a 3-horse race. It's going to probably be between the 88, the 48, as well as the 87. But again, I mean, if they all start focusing on each other, you never know. Someone could pop in there and steal a whole chunk of.
Yeah, if I'm the 87 or the 48, if Gabe's in front of me, I wreck him. He's got plenty. I get this one, man. Frank's put out an awesome trophy. I want it on my mantle. Everybody talks about wrecking their mom for a championship. No, I'm just kidding. I hope we see some really good racing next week, and I'm with you. These dudes can race each other really, really hard and still get along, and that's one of the greatest things about this league. And next week, Talladega's not going to disappoint.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, so to confirm, it's 3 points for Raymond Rittenauer over Ryan Decker, and it's 5 points back from Ryan to Gabe. So, Gabe being 8 out of the lead, and then Joshua Heibaugh 15 out of the lead, Eric Laurie 17 out of the lead. So, I mean, we still have, like I said, we had 20 drivers tonight. So, based on that, realistically, I think we pretty much have those 5 drivers that can vie for the win. Dean Wilkinson's 24 out in 6th. So, yeah, so we'll see how it shakes out, but it's either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, we've got this one here tonight, but next week, but before we get to that one though, Brandon, we still got one more to go over on the truck side of things. And I'm going to try to pull up those points real quick as well, because I want to see who we've got in store over there. Because I say I'm not sure if it'll be you and I, or if it'll be Boomer or you and I, or Boomer and you, or not. We'll have to wait and see on that one. So I know he might have stuff coming up. And yeah, actually over there, so it's even a little tighter there. Gabe's got an 8-point lead over Dean Wilkinson. So I mean, for a lead, that's pretty good. But then Jim Brooks is only 2 back there, 10 out. Ryan Decker, same thing, 11 out back there. And then 16 out is Bud Steele. So on that one, Gabe's got a lot of Roswell drivers. They're going to try to go after him there on that Thursday Truck Series Championship. So we'll see if he can pull off 2 championships in a season. We've seen him do it before, but everybody's going to give it their best to kind of pulling away from him.
Yeah, you throw everything that you've learned all year at it, and you figure it out. And they got the right group to do it. Dean. It comes down to pit stops and teammates, and they always bring good groups of teammates. And if you can execute at Talladega and get out there ahead and stick together with your team, I think you'll be all right. So just got to stick with it and figure out a way to beat this guy. Somebody's got to do it.
They'll try. We'll see if they can find a way to get around. Like I said, he finds ways to win in so many different ways. So, and I say it just speaks to the volume of what he can do. And again, also like I said, I mean, like what you mentioned before, to be the best, you got to beat the best, and he is by far one of the best in Area 51. And I think just super speedway racing in general. And yeah, you made a great point. I said I got to jump back and take a look at this one, because we didn't have a chance to take a look at it because there's so much going on. And so you can see right here, so I got a little bit of glare there. And there you go. You've got the broadcast crew on the hood, and say I'm not sure I feel okay with me being on the top of it, but that is really cool. So I say he's even on the door there, on the front fender there as well. That's really cool. So Jack, I love it. I appreciate it, sir. I'm humbled. Brandon, I know you mentioned it's like you got to go check this out, and so that is really, really cool. So big thank you to that one. Oh, the number 1 Brock. I didn't even catch that part either. Yeah, I'm humbled by that one, Brennan. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely thank you to Jack Walls. We definitely appreciate it. And Gael, man, you deserve a lot of credit. And Boom, too. You guys do a lot of work just to get this thing up and going. When I first sat down, I was like, wow, these guys do definitely do not get the credit that they necessarily deserve, because it's just behind the scenes stuff. A lot of people just see the racing, but you and Boom do one heck of a job getting this thing ready. And I appreciate you guys for helping me and teaching me along the way. And it's an honor to be up here, and appreciate once again Jack, showing his respect.
Nah, I appreciate the love. And actually, we got to see a good little save there by Jack, too. Jim got into his left rear corner coming down the white flag there. So great save for Jack as well there in that final lap. But yeah, again, everybody that watches and supports us here at Green White Checker TV, like I said, it means a ton. It's a lot of fun doing this. And honestly, it's even more fun because of all of you being a part of it. So I gotta again thank everybody for doing this with us. Yeah, it just means the world, and it's still kind of crazy that we still do this as a thing. So Brandon, always, sir, it's a pleasure. Looking forward to say we got 2 more races to go. A little bit of an off season, but then we'll be coming back strong here again for season 2. So everybody that watches and supports us, thank you all so much for being a part of it. And again, we'll come back here on Thursday night. So until then, though, as always, take care, stay safe, have a good night.